Hi, I'm Terri, also known as Pop Art Diva, and today I'm going to do a coloring demonstration for you. I'm using one of my own coloring pages from one of my published coloring books. This piece is called Sunflower Fantasy, and it is from my coloring book called Through the Eyes of an Artist. Right here I'm dropping in some background color with the Airbrush tool, which should, by the way, tell you that I am coloring this in a computer graphics program. This particular case, I'm using ibisPaintX. Right now, I'm working on the background. I have selected the background area. Please notice the little dotted lines that are moving, if you can see them. Those indicate the area I'm working on, and they also create a mask so that I'm only working on the area that's selected. I selected and created my background and did a graduated color of kind of a robin's egg blue to a lavender. And then I went back over and painted some white behind the face so I could tone the face and put some blush in. And then I worked on the eye. Now, as you can see, I'm working on the stems of the flowers. So I have selected those stems out. And with the two different colors, I selected each one of those color areas separately. Now this is me checking things and maybe putting in some background, etc. for prep work for the next thing I'm going to do. I know they're hard to see, but keep an eye for that dotted line, that blinking dotted line. That's going to show you where I'll be working next. And that should be coming up on the butterfly. There we go. Okay. So I selected those wing areas and I'm coloring them in, doing my graduated tones. If you notice, I'm working in Airbrush. I don't think I used any other tool in here on this one. And I already did the Ladybugs. Coming up on the bee, going to drop some color in on him next. For this series of drawings for this book, I started with the eyes, then drew the nose and the mouth. And from there, I would come out with whatever design I had decided to work with. Sometimes I didn't even know what I was going to do. Now, I'm still working on the bee, and I want you to notice that I have now dropped in some shadows. Every one of the elements in here is on a separate layer, so I can do that. It makes for a huge working file, but it allows me to make changes down the line if I want. Gives me a lot more freedom. And you've noticed I'm now working on the sunflower petals. And as you see, the paint, it looks like I'm painting all around a big blob. But because I have selected certain petals, etc., to work on and masked them out by selecting them, then I only get to paint where I want it. While I was chatting, you'll notice I darkened that background a little bit. Still working on the sunflower petals here. The advantage of working on a graphics program, as opposed to using crayons or colored pencils or markers, is you get to correct a mistake because you're working in layers and you can make it go backwards and go bye-bye. Control Z, undo. Now you'll see I'm back on the sunflower again, putting in some shading and some highlights and that type of thing. After that finishing touch on the sunflower, the only thing left is the mouth. So keep an eye there. There it is. The first layer of color, and then I'm going to go in and do a little shading. See the blinking selection area? Okay, now notice I've selected the background again. Just the background, not the flower or the eye or the mouth. And I am putting in some little star effects back there. That's a brush in the computer program that I use, the IbisPaintX, and it makes this kind of effect very quick to do. Now we're dropping in some shadows. Look at that. And with the addition of that last shadow, Sunflower Fantasy is finished. You can find it in my coloring book, Through the Eyes of an Artist, on Amazon. And here's some samples of the designs that are inside Through the Eyes of an Artist, an adult fantasy coloring book by Pop Art Diva. And as you look at the last few images, remember you can get Through the Eyes of an Artist coloring book on Amazon.com. There's 31 full coloring pages and coloring elements on every page. I hope my coloring demonstration was as relaxing and enjoyable for you as it was for me. Thank you for visiting.